I don't think that noise is ever going to go away. It's only going to wait for the slightest turn in results for people to say, well, why didn't you do that?
Geordie Journo's back here at St James's Park. Back with Liam Kennedy. Back where you belong, Liam.
I was on the live for anybody watching.
Oh, yes, of course.
With some
back as a threesome.
It went in some strange directions, I'm not going to lie.
Really?
It did. We got some praise for me tan. The Egypt tan.
It is a good tan.
Is it? Do you like it?
It is a good tan. It was the first thing I noticed.
You mentioned it, yeah. And I got some hairline slaughtering.
Terrible.
Oh.
I did. And it was raining as well, so I was joking that there was a little swimming pool forming for the flies on top of me.
You guys used to be nice in the comments.
Hey, I know. What's happening to YouTube?
Well.
What's happening in Newcastle United?
Well, they can't lose at the moment.
Let's not talk about the off-field stuff yet. Let's just focus on the football.
Exactly. They can't lose. Unbeaten start of the season. 7 points from 9 in the Premier League through to the third round of the Carabao Cup. Today, for large parts, it looked like they may not win, and performance-wise, still a lot to be desired. But hey, there's something that can be taken from a side that aren't playing well. And Newcastle have probably not played well for 4 games now, yet have won 2 of them, 1 on penalties and drawn another. And I thought today they didn't play well for large parts, but they took the chances when they came their way. And Tottenham will be heading back to North London, very disappointed they didn't win. But Newcastle, after a very tough summer, now look and go win the international break now. We're unbeaten, and that's a good result today against a direct rival.
No, I think I agree. I think we're talking about hairlines. I think I had a lot more hair at the start of the
I
season.
need to get my hair cut.
I need some of your hair. I think I had more hair at the start of the season. I think it was exasperating that. I thought in equal measure it was exasperating at Forest. It was more so, I only seen 45 minutes of Bournemouth, but the 45 minutes I saw was grim. It hasn't been pretty for Newcastle United this season. That's not maybe being overly negative, being a doom monger or whatever, but purely on the football things, it's been awful.
Awful.
I do think it has. I think there's been patches of positivity. I thought that last 20 minutes against Forest was probably the closest we'd seen to the Newcastle United of old. I didn't see the second half of Bournemouth. You guys reported it really well. I think things did massively improve. I didn't see that. From what I've seen this season, that today was, I think it showed in many ways. I'm so happy with the result. It was a massive week. They needed to get a result. But if we're just going to focus on the performance, I've never seen a more back foot, a better back foot Newcastle United at home than what I've seen this season. They played 2 games, and there was caveats to the first one, the red card so early, but against Southampton and Tottenham, Newcastle United, I don't know what the possession stats say, but it felt so one-sided.
33 and 22 or
like Tottenham were levels above Newcastle United the way they functioned today as a team, but there was lots of positives to take from it in that respect. That I get the old adage, they haven't played well and got results. Results are all that matters in this game. Performances are so far off. It actually fills us with a little bit of positivity to think that imagine when Anthony Gordon's firing, imagine when Alexander Isak is getting those chances that he's been so accustomed to at Newcastle United, imagine when Harvey Barnes is even more involved in this team, because I thought that's the best couple of performances I've seen from Harvey Barnes was Nottingham Forest, and that again today I thought he was really effective.
He was good at Bournemouth as well. You wouldn't have seen it. The second half of Bournemouth, he was the game changer.
He started it.
And we've critiqued him in the past about where does he fit into this team, and I think really he's starting to find a real home. I think Anthony Gordon doesn't look right on the right. I would actually play Barnes there, in my opinion. I would.
Yeah.
I'm not massive on this inverted wingers thing. I get the concept why you play inverted wingers in football. Wingers used to provide bullets for strikers. There aren't really that many out-and-out strikers in the game anymore, and the reason being is because most people play inverted wingers. The reason you want inverted wingers is because they're cutting in to score goals, so your goals effectively come more from wide than they do in centre. That's just the way football has gone over the last 10 to 15 years, and that's fine. But I still think there's a place for quality, and Newcastle United's quality front three is that front three that started today. I think it's hard to argue that anybody else gets a place in there.
I think it's one way of addressing short term the right forward situation.
It is.
Which is, if you're going to play your 3 best attackers, they are your 3 best attackers. I think that £145 million worth of talent that Newcastle United spent on transfer fees for them 3. So I think in the sort of the short term, to at least January, then you probably are just better off paying your best players and finding their home for Harvey Barnes and I would agree. I think Harvey Barnes would probably be more suited down the right, although he's got that trademark cutting side, which, to be fair, his finish today was really, really good actually.
Class,
The way
wasn't
he got in front of the defender.
Didn't deserve to be taken off.
No, he didn't.
No, but it
You
got
see why he did it.
For 10 minutes, it looked like that was a terrible decision when Jacob Murphy did nothing but give the ball away, but then made the crucial run, got his head up well. How many times has Jacob Murphy hit those shots straight to the goalkeeper? No, gets his head up, slides it in to Alexander Isak, beats the offside trap. Great work from him, and Eddie Howe gave credit to Jacob Murphy for the impact he made and was impressed with Harvey Barnes as well, who, I mean, the last time he started a game was the last game of last season, I mean, in the Premier League, and he scored then as well. So
he brings goals. He brings goals
He
for his
does.
game. He's a good
He does.
finisher, isn't he? And it was a well-timed run. It was credit as well to Lloyd Kelly, who I thought, look, he's had a mixed start. You don't know how fit he is. He didn't play a lot of pre-season, but I thought that was his best half of football. He was really good in the first half.
probably the best player in the first half.
He was. Second half he dipped a little bit, but I thought that was actually probably true of a lot of players. You looked at Dan Burn in that first half, thought, oh, he's having a really good game today, and then he went all to pot in the second half. To be fair,
he had a couple of moments before the own goal where I was like, no, he's still doing well. He's emerging, and then he gave the ball away, didn't he? In
that one where he's
area.
controlled, drew the forward, and then he passed it to nobody. And it was look, that's the thing that the thing that really stood out to me today is individual errors. I think Newcastle United this season, individual errors are costing them so badly. Like we're seeing.
Well, they're not though.
No, I thought it did. I thought the goals at Bournemouth, particularly the first one. That was like, it's like people giving the ball away, like Joe Linton there in that position. These individual errors are happening all the time. Anthony Gordon did it, Bruno did it, Dan Burn did it.
I think everyone did it.
Literally everybody did it today, and it was like, although Spurs were good with the ball, controlled the game, controlled the all of the areas of the pitch, apart from the really high line, which I'm sure we'll come on to. What they didn't, Newcastle United did was made it easy for them. Like, they kept giving them the ball back constantly, and until Newcastle United get a hold of games and start like retaining the ball really well. And that's why I think Fabian Schär comes back into this team and improves it. Kieran Trippier, even though Tino Livramento I thought was actually really good today, they miss that quality from the back. Players who are able to pass through first lines of defence, Newcastle don't have that. It's the sideways. It's Pope to the full back, back into the centre half, back over to the other side, and then all of a sudden there's four swarmed on the opposite full back, and you can't get out. It's either lob up the line or give the ball away, and it's happening all the time. I think Fabian Schär makes a big difference in that respect, because all of a sudden when Fabian Schär comes into the team, Joe Linton knows, I can make a run, and he'll find us. Same for Anthony Gordon, I'll stick wide, or Harvey Barnes, whoever it may be. They don't have that. Dan Burn's not going to do it. Emil Kraft doesn't pass any further than 5 yards. It literally, they kind of get out.
But what I would say on that as well, I would give Emil Kraft a lot of credit actually.
Yeah,
I actually thought he was probably...
He was alright the day, wasn't he?
The better of the two centre-halves, and there was only two, but he was the better of the two centre-halves. And
he did have credit today. I thought he was decent today.
He's been steady all season, Emil Kraft.
He has been.
He's got limitations.
He's had moments, like any defender does, but he's come in having not played. Eddie Howe gave credit to him. He very rarely played as a centre back in a back four. Whenever he's played centre back previously, he's been in a back three. So it's a new role for him. And Newcastle haven't. I mean, they have missed Fabian Schär, but it hasn't been as damaging as it could have been.
The way it all set up today, he was having to do a lot of particularly in that first half, from memory, do a lot of one-on-one defending, because Livramento was pushed right forward to I think they were trying to pin back that Adobe, weren't they, who makes such a big difference, who didn't really have much of a game today, even though Tottenham had a lot of the ball. So that kind of worked. There was a lot of tactical nuance to the game. You pointed out very early that Joe Linton was doing a lot of tucking in on the left hand side. It was it was like almost what Elliot Anderson had to do in the game last season. As you said.
Yeah, he was. I think as the game progressed, he sort of came more inside. I thought, but they started out with a clear plan essentially for what I thought was essentially two wing backs, where you would have Livramento and Joe Linton was essentially tucking on that left hand side
with a back three.
Yeah, but on Joe Linton as well. I mean, incredible bit of.
He was class for the ball.
A moment of class when he sort of just spun James Maddison and put the ball through.
I always panic when he gets the ball in those positions, because sometimes his quality on the ball isn't great, but he actually drew.
It was a moment like that led to the goal against Bournemouth, because he conceded possession, but he took the risk and it paid off.
He was brave, and he drew Maddison in, who you're not really going to get a challenge from Maddison, so he just shrugged him off and then set Murphy free with a great ball through. It was real quality from Joe Linton, which is something I think he's lacked in the last two games. Showed a real quality on the ball. He's a better player. A lot of these Newcastle players, they're actually better players here than they ever are away from home, and that's just still something that has to change. We're going to a run now of three consecutive away
if you
games,
include the Wimbledon one,
including Wimbledon, and you'd have to hope the bare minimum out of that was you want to get 4 points in progression, don't you? That will be a bare minimum out of those 2 games, I would say.
Yeah.
If you've got ambitions to be up towards where Tottenham will be this season.
Who's the 2 away games?
Wolves and Fulham.
Fulham, yeah.
They've had some good results at Fulham in recent years, but
they don't play well at
don't
Wolves.
don't play well at Wolves. They were poor there last year, although I think it was just after Milan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of the Champions League games.
Yeah, there was a lot of energy expended there in Milan, I think. So I'm hoping for better, and Wolves have been poor this season.
Yeah.
So you'd hope that's 3 points. Get a draw at Fulham, I think they'll be ticking along nicely, as long as they beat Wimbledon, of course, which hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Newcastle United, but this is a totally different set of circumstances, you would imagine.
Yeah.
But if you do that, imagine you go 7 games unbeaten at the start of the season and go into that Man City game, you'll be flying. I think this place will be buzzing by then.
Well, you even saw today, momentum, confidence is key. Newcastle were so under the cosh today, and then the score against the run of play, and then they see the game out quite easily in the end. Like they're on top, and
it didn't feel like it was. We'll have these games where it's like it's coming, and it was a couple of times today. It was like it's coming. Every time I felt the goal was coming, we went and scored. It was bizarre, wasn't it? It was like strange, but
the momentum shifted so much with the goal today, and Newcastle were able to just grind out the win. But the Spurs were obviously right on the front foot, and they just dropped off after Newcastle scored, I think.
Do you not think Spurs' defence, when you've got players like Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak, are just so easy to play against?
I think it was
that high line was when I know they're on top and they're pushing to get a winner. But that high line is so naive, and you play high line against Newcastle. Aston Villa found this out several times.
Did Ange do when he was sitting in your press conference? Did he do the? Well, really? I'm here.
No, he didn't.
Did he not?
No, he didn't.
He was actually quite positive, to be honest.
Did he not look at the floor?
Yeah, he might have a few.
Maybe.
I always feel like he's apologising to his mum after doing so really badly when his team's got
naughty boy.
Naughty boy.
Yeah, I thought Spurs were, and I get it because the momentum was with Spurs, but I thought they play a high line. I think it's really naive, and it got found out. It was a great bit of skill by Joe Linton, but it was literally a ball for the middle.
If Spurs
so
have
easy.
Alexander Isak in their team today, they win comfortably.
Yeah.
It's just it was the difference today is Newcastle had somebody who can finish and get to the right positions. I know, but get to the right positions.
Yeah.
He didn't have a great game. I thought him and Gordon was slightly improved on what they have been. I think there was a little spring in Gordon's step today, which we hadn't seen. A little bit more energy
in the first half.
Yeah, in the first. I thought the second half defensively he was brilliant. I thought he put a good shift in. He made mistakes. That individual error here on this side in front of us was awful, and nearly cost Newcastle a goal. But he wasn't alone in that. He worked hard. I thought there was little signs there that he was getting towards. He's miles off where he was. Same for Isak.
Yeah, how to be fair, how I admitted that as much as well in the press conference after. Yeah, where they said they're literally keeping him on in games because they're trying to get him back up to his level, which is fair enough. You can see he's not totally there.
He's better on the left.
But I described it as a very unselfish performance where he wasn't at his best sort of going forward. But I thought defensively, even on the right hand side in the first half, I thought it was really good. And I thought he finished the game really strong as well. So
yeah.
Eddie Howe admitted fitness is an issue for the entire team. He said they're not performing how he wants them to.
Why?
I mean, I suppose it
pre-season.
Yeah, it was a bit of a
good point too.
It was a bit of a jaded pre-season, wasn't it? With just saying no one will know. Yeah, it was a bit of a. Well, the pre-season you got players coming back at different points, but
I've had a month together now.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I've had 4 games.
How long's this go on, by the way?
I think that's why the international break comes maybe at a good time, even though Newcastle being
they all go away again though.
It's a limited number. You keep Trippier around, you keep Cher around, he'll be back. So there's key players who would have went away previously who are not. So you're only losing in terms of extra players. Tino Livramento really,
Tonali,
Nick Pope, not Tonali, but Tonali wasn't involved for the most part of last season.
It's probably actually a really good thing for Tonali.
Yeah, because he gets
to go back to Italy. He'll just feel part of that again.
You just hope it's better than his last international break with Italy, don't you?
I don't want him hauled over the coals again, do we?
No, it was a. No,
we do want him coming back this time.
It was a welcome return for him today as well. I thought the Wall Flags display was great. He didn't start the game, of course, but I thought he came on and helped take the sting out of it a little bit. tidy on the ball.
I think that's what he is. I think he's a tidy player
It was now spectacular.
who's quite
but, yeah.
sharp with his passing, incisive. He can see a pass, he can see things. He almost plays the game sometimes a step ahead of the opposition. I'm just not sure Newcastle are always on that wavelength. I still think there's room for manoeuvre there that he's still got to get used to Newcastle United. This is the thing I didn't understand with the Tonoi stuff when everyone's like, oh, get up. Newcastle United aren't the same team as what they were last season. So probably this playbook that he's been learning is almost coming to the team as Newcastle United aren't the same team as what they were. They do not press the way they did. They don't. No, they're not set up the same the way they were last season.
Do you think they'll be in a position where they will do that again though?
I don't know.
Because I think that's Eddie Howe's way.
I think so too, and maybe it is this fitness. It all ties into this fitness thing. Maybe they're not at peak performance and can't do that now. I think it's a horses for courses. Did he? Actually, yeah. But I think when Man United come here, for example, or when Man City come in a few weeks, you might see them do that. In spells, they might go right. We'll go at you now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's just Eddie Howe's way. And there's, because of the less games, I think there's probably less of an excuse to not play that way, because that's the best way Newcastle can play, isn't it? Being on the front foot is the best way that they can play, and they showed that when they got fourth. So I think that because the way, you take the first 3 games, they're going to play at that, not going to get very far. There almost has to be an improvement. Is that improvement to stop pressing again?
So I just think the way I look at this team and the strengths that it has, and this isn't really a criticism, it's just an analysis. I don't really think they've got the quality to control games. So I don't think they've got the quality to say, right, we're going to have all the ball and we're going to do this, that, and we're going to cut you up. But I think Newcastle's best is forcing other teams into mistakes, winning the ball high. That's where they've had all their success. It hasn't been from we're going to pass, and we're going to pass you all over the park and create openings. That they haven't ever done that. And when they try to do it now, it falls woefully short of being able to do that. The best is a dynamic team where we're going to say we're going to outrun you, we're more physical than you, and we've got speed on the break. That's where the goal came from today, and that's when they were a threat. Was that right? We're going to go over the top, or we're going to go quick and high and get the ball. And they're not pressing like they were, but like I say, I think there's probably a time and place for it. I hope, because that's when I think they look their strongest.
I think for as good as today is, I think that has got to be an improvement. I think I would always caveat that with the fact that it's been a great start. But there has to be an improvement. How said that? I'm sorry. But today was important because of everything that sort of surrounded. I don't know if you want to go into that now.
No, we don't have to go deep, but like it's been a chastening week.
It was a very disappointing, frustrating transfer window because they didn't bring in any major signings. I mean, you had one player today, Lloyd Kelly, who who started. There was Hawes on the bench. If you want to class him as new signing, obviously they had paid money for him, so it does technically go on the counter. And then you've got 2 goalkeepers who aren't in the squad. And then you've got a striker who 4 games in still hasn't made his debut. So there's a big frustration there. I think that still lingers for me, but I think it's less so now. I think today helped sort of take the noise away a little bit, because if they had have lost today, you would be looking back at Friday going,
it doesn't go away though. So all it does is push it further down the line. There will come a time, I would imagine, between now and, let's be honest, February, because nobody ever signs anybody in the first weeks of January. So this team's probably going to have to survive all the way through till February, basically, for any strengthening to any degree.
Yeah.
And I think there's always going to be a period in this time where they struggle. And it's always going to fall back on the fact is you should have strengthened when you had the opportunity. I don't think that noise is ever going to go away. It's only going to wait for the slightest turn in results for people to say, well, why didn't you do that? Yeah. It's always going to go back to that. They'll have their reasons. We've got our reasons why they think they did what they did. Eddie Howe, I think there's been quite a lot of different stories of who's to blame and who's not to blame. And like I said on the live, I think if anybody, you might like it, you might not, friend of the channel, if you read Craig Hope's analysis of what happened, he's recording a video behind me here, then you'll not go far wrong. You might not like what you read, but it's kind of fits the narrative that we understand it to be from the information that we have. We've had some of that information. Craig went with it, didn't he? He went with it, having sourced it really well. We heard these kind of murmurings back in July, like probably mid-July, around the time, was that when Amanda left?
Yeah.
We kind of had that information.
We did a video on it, didn't we? Where we couldn't say an
what,
awful lot.
Yeah, I can't remember we doing that.
It was very fresh at that point, very raw.
And things aren't well, things aren't right, things aren't perfect. There's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of change in the guard, a lot of new dynamics. Eddie Howe has not been that happy this summer. He expressed that. There's been some strange goings on at this football club, and it hasn't felt like the most professional of outfits. I think you just have to go back to the announcement of the non-announcement of the new club captain, new team captain. Is a very bizarre way to go about things. A PR exercise where it could have been, look, this is fantastic. The new captain, Bruno Guimaraes, we found out through the back door.
Yeah.
We found out through the back door that he was the captain, and somebody else who'd been the captain wasn't the captain anymore, and might be leaving, but might not be leaving. It's all been, there's been so much strange stuff going on at this football club, and it will all come out in time as to why things have happened. But like I say, you just have to read the Daily Mail account of it, and that kind of tallies with what we understand it ish to be. Some nuances to that as well, but it hasn't been a good summer, and anybody out there who thinks it has, and you're entitled to your opinion, it hasn't been a particularly great year at Newcastle United. There's been a lot of tensions behind the scenes, a lot of movement. We've seen the massive overhaul of the people around the football club around the turn of the year. There was a lot of people involved from PCP that suddenly were shunted out of the football club like that. It just went, and it was like, wait there, we didn't realise at the time, but that was the precursor to what was going to happen later on, that those PCP people connected, who'd had a big say in what was going on, had been heavily involved in dealing with the press, dealing with sponsors, dealing with connects all over the football club, were shunted out of the football club. And at the time, reasons were given where you think, that makes sense. Then all of a sudden, 7 months later, Amanda and Mierda are gone. There's been a lot of things going on that have felt very rushed, the change in the guards happened very quickly. The Dan Ashworth stuff that happened, I think we've criticised Dan Ashworth a lot, but knowing the dynamics of the way things work, I don't necessarily think he was the man to blame for everything. There was a lot of people pointing fingers saying Ashworth's the problem, and there's been many people now saying Mitchell's the problem. That doesn't really get to the point of what the problems are. It's actually working relationships and dynamics that aren't new, and Ashworth, it was almost like shutting the door after the horse had bolted with Ashworth. He came in after the manager, and that was just a strange dynamic anyway. You've seen a little bit of that with Mitchell. Is Darren Eales presenting the best version of himself that he possibly can be? I've written a piece for Newcastle World that you guys have read as well, that I don't think he is. I think failures at Newcastle United have got to fall on Darren Eales' shoulders. He's the gaffer.
He heads the ship.
There was 4 people working underneath him who then filter down to the football side, the commercial side, the infrastructure side with Brad Miller, other bits of the football club. They all feed into Darren Eales. And although the football club is worth more on paper, although things are moving forward, we're yet to see any tangible progress with regards to anything apart from signing players at times, which didn't happen at all this summer. So I think Darren Eales, I've said it before and I'll say it again on here for anybody who didn't see that Newcastle World piece. I do urge you to go to newcastleworld.com and check it out. But I think Newcastle United have not needed a drinking buddy. Newcastle United do not need a fan's friend. Newcastle United yearned for a decade and a half to be run like a professional football club, and they didn't need that. The club to me is more connected now to the fans than it probably ever has been, because it feels like there's direction to some respects. I think there's been movements off that course in recent times because of the changes, but everybody kind of still feels like progress is wanted. Whether that progress will be quick enough, I don't know. Darren Eales didn't need to do the connect thing. The club's media team allow you to see more of Eddie Howe, see more of the footballers, see more. The fans are more connected. They don't need happy clapper CEO. They don't need somebody, look at me, I'm going to sing a song. They don't want that. We've had all that before. It's rubbish. I don't like it.
No, self-indulgent in it.
I think it's not befitting of a man in that position at this football club. They wanted somebody to come in and be Mr. Professional. Now sorry, John.
Go on. I was going to say, I think all the singing and dancing from Darren Eales is fine when things are going well. I think there's a time and a place for that.
I don't.
You don't like it at all?
No, don't like it
I just think back 12 months ago or whatever, longer, when he's singing it before Wembley. No one had a problem then.
No, but I think he did a little bit.
I had a problem. Him pretending to be drunk, spilling things out on the green man floor, drinking this, that and the other. I thought that was wrong then, and I still stand by it wrong. Now, I don't want a Newcastle United man. That man sits up there, and he's got to make sure that the man here today, Yasser Al-Rumayyan, writes the right checks for Newcastle United. He could be look, this is what we don't know about Darren Eales. Now, I've had a lot of time. haven't spent a lot of time. That's not what I was going to say.
You've
I've
got
got a lot of time for him when he spends the time with us, because he's really positive about Newcastle United, and he's been really courteous and good and spoke to all of us, and I like him. But I just want to see a more professional side. I want to see somebody who does the deals, does the work, and he might do that. This might just be a little act. It might be, I'm doing this to kind of keep the fans on side, but I actually don't think the fans respect that. Fans I speak to want what I've said. They want Mr. Professional, and they don't need somebody to put their arm around them in the pub and go, oh, I'll have a drink with you. That's what Mike Ashley did, and that's the problem. It's it connects so much. We don't want Mike Ashley. We don't want the chances that Sunderland had down the road where they were in the pub with everybody buying pints. Mike Ashley going to the big market and spilling drinks out for everybody in Blue Bamboo. That's not what we want. We don't need that. We want somebody who is ultra professional. I've never seen anybody from Man City's set up with the most successful football club, the way they've set themselves up on this planet over recent time because of what they've done on and off the field. Nobody from Man City's spilling out of bars singing songs. It doesn't happen. They run like a professional football club. I just want Newcastle to do the same, and that's not a big personal criticism, because like I say, if he's then doing the job off it, you can forgive a little bit of that. I still don't like it though.
That's what I was trying to say. We're not talking about Darren Neal singing and dancing on the stage if this summer transfer windows on well, so there has to be.
I was
okay.
I wrote that before.
Yeah.
But that was because the summer transfer window wasn't going well.
Nah, it was actually seriously, it's been in me since the Green Man. Since he did the thing at the Green Man where everybody congregating him around, and I've got a couple of really good friends of mine who were there, right, like shoulder to shoulder, like we are with him, heard the things he said to people around him, and I just didn't like the whole faux drunk thing. I'm one of the lads. I just don't respect it, because I'm not doing it in my line of work. We'll have a drink like anybody else, and he's entitled to that, no problem. But I don't like the act. I don't like the idea of the act. Pretending to be something you're not. You're
pretending, do you think?
Yeah, he's a chief executive who runs football clubs. Act like one. Chief executives who run football clubs do the right thing all the time. I don't think that's the right thing, and I think in his head, or anybody that's advising him, he probably thinks it's building a connect with fans. I think it's doing the opposite. I think people are looking at it and going, even though they weren't saying it, you've seen a lot of them say it now after the piece that was written, that I agree with you. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't think he sees that, and I hope he takes that on board and says, right, this is something I need to change.
He probably has. He won the start today, whereas he was last game.
He couldn't have won the start today.
No.
But that's rubbish though. So if you're going to do that, then you have to do it all the time. You kind of pick and choose. Like I'm going to do it.
First game back, it's opening of the stack. To be fair, I think he was well within his right.
Yeah, that's fair. But
there's a time and a place for Darren Neal's singing and dancing. That's all I'm saying.
Not at all. Yeah.
Where are you on this one? He says yes. I say no.
I'm more on your side a little bit. I mean, I think if there are any doubts from anyone, fans, of the way the football club is run, then those doubts are only amplified when your CEO, the man in charge, acts in the way he has in his public persona.
I don't see what's to gain from it. Tell us, what do you think he gains from that?
But I think that probably is that connection building, because maybe we're at the point now where that sort of singing and dancing on the stage has probably bypassed the club, because it was 14 years of Mike Ashley where the fans were so disconnected, so maybe they needed that from Darren Neal's to feel close to the CEO of a football club. And maybe I take your point where, okay, they've got for that period now where they feel connected again, Newcastle want to be ambitious, and maybe Darren Neal's has to act in a professional way that doesn't involve singing and dancing on stages.
There's a difference between showing up, connecting with the fans, and just being there, being that authority figure at the club. And that's great. Having time for fans and spending time talking to ourselves, fans out in Tokyo. It's like I say, I think like you say, sorry, it's the singing and the going a little bit too far.
So the Tokyo, that was the other thing I was trying to think. There was something in between. So the Tokyo, like parroting like profanity laden songs about, that to me does not that doesn't. The optics of that are not, wow, I look at that man and think you're ultra professional, and that's all I want. from anybody in positions of power at Newcastle United. I think that emanates from Eddie Howe. You like him, loathe him, somewhere in between. He makes mistakes, he doesn't, he's the best thing since sliced bread, whatever. I think you always, whatever your feelings on Eddie Howe, you look at him and say, I think that bloke puts 1,000% in every day, turns up, looks the part, professional, speaks in a certain manner. I don't ever, at any point, see Eddie Howe ever doing that sort of thing. And horses for courses, people are different, that's fine. But that's what I want from Newcastle United. That's where Eddie Howe, for me, ticks every single box, is that I can trust that. You are Mr. Professional. And what we needed after Steve Bruce was Mr. Professional. What we needed after Ashley, Lambias, Charnley, what we needed was Mr. Professional, and 10 of them who all do their jobs and they're all super professional. That's probably, that's what kind of you see the people from PIF, that's what they are. You look at them and they almost, you don't even need to speak to you, but it's like there's professionalism there straight away. That's why I don't like the Eel stuff, but maybe I'm dwelling too much. I don't want to feel like this is like a hatchet job on someone like Darren Eales, because like I say, he's had. I remember standing at the event that we did, the Quayside. Yeah. And we'd all had a drink. He had a good time for us. I stood talking to him for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and he was brilliant. And so this isn't a personal thing. It's just reacting to what I would rather see. I want to see the fruits of your labour doing the work, and that might come. You've got to convince PIF to sign the cheques. I want to see something tangible more than on the football field here at Newcastle United. I want to see progress on the training ground. I have asked him these questions on numerous occasions direct. Never had a direct answer, I'll be honest. But the training ground and the stadium, Brad Miller, and that sounds like it's, however imminent is imminent, I don't know, but it sounds like something. That's what he said. That's what he said, imminent. So, imminent. Anyway, I think I should shut up because I get complained. I don't know if I'm talking too much. We're back in these territories.
Aye by me.
I am, aye.
I'm just a good lad in the corner.
But we said we'd talk about it because it's caused a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head probably earlier than anyone really in terms of the downhill stuff. But I think ultimately what matters, and it was a reminder today, this club will ultimately be judged on what happens there.
Yeah.
And okay, performances may be hit and miss. If Newcastle keep winning, bottom line is these complaints or frustrations become weaker and quieter. So all we can judge it on is what we've seen so far, which leaves a lot to be desired. But Newcastle's, I've put a tweet out, best start, 4-game start to a season in over a decade, and 7 points from 9 through to the third round of the Carabao Cup. I think it was a much needed win, even though they'd made a good start to the season, and a sort of reminder of what really matters at the football club, which is results on the pitch.
You guys revealed something really interesting to me today.
Oh, what?
There was a lot of talk about boxes.
Oh yeah.
Kieran Trippier's box isn't there anymore.
Yes.
I think that's what people are saying. I think
True.
we're just looking at it is gone, isn't it?
Trips is
well, we had.
Was it over here?
No, it was there. Yeah, Trips is there.
It's gone, isn't it?
Well, we
So what was the
contemplated
other?
doing a story on this last season because now it's not the case. But Mike Ashley, since selling the club, has continued to have a box at St James's Park until this season. No longer has one. So
Get your letters in the bin. Get your box in the bin.
So yeah,
Mr. Sports
whether
Direct.
he attended, I highly doubted, but
I don't think so.
he did continue to have a box as recently as last season, and Mr. and Mrs. Ashley was the name.
Maybe
of
it
the box.
wasn't him. Maybe it was just another.
It was.
It was.
We were reliably informed that was
Yes, and no longer there. So who's taken up that box? I don't know. Hopefully a new commercial partner's coming in.
not a new signing.
So,
Where was it? Do you know?
Pet for me that. Are you talking about Trips? Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Ashley.
Trips was over there. Where's Ashley? Do we know?
Was there ever a sign saying Mr. and Mrs. Ashley?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think it was one of the
hidden
one
ones.
of the hidden ones, like the one we've been to over there. We were lucky enough to get invited to. Not last season, but the season before.
Yeah, it was amazing, that
Yeah.
wasn't it? Well, that time in the box it was Brighton, wasn't
I
it?
don't think that name's on there. So,
No, isn't it?
so yeah.
If you've got a box and you would like to invite the Tory journos into your box
Always.
at St James's Park, we're always welcome for some hospitality, and we will entertain you with some. Oh, Craig Hope is sparking up there. Hello.
Hello again. So now we're heading to the international break. No games for a couple of weeks. Obviously, we're a few Newcastle players out and about around the world. And yeah, so we'll try and keep the videos coming.
Yeah.
If
we'll
there's
see.
stuff to talk about, of course.
Let us know.
Yeah.
If you want to let us know what you want us to talk about, is there any topics that you want us to delve into? Let us know in the comments. And I think if one, a particular subject stands out in the comments from people, then we'll maybe tackle it with a separate video. But yeah, I think we're pretty open to that. And then if not, we'll see you on the other side. Wolves.
Return of Fabian Schär, hopefully.
Massive. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think that's huge for the way that the team plays, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
We'll see you there.
Yes. We'll see you there. And of course, if you like what we do, please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell for all your Geordie Journos content. Liam, T's and C's, Four Rivers.
Oh yeah.
See?
Sorry, Charlie. Forgot about that one. Four Rivers. Are we still doing this? Is he still on there? Four Rivers Financial Planning, massive sponsor of all long-form Geordie Journos videos. So we will see. Oh, it's down there, isn't it? Down there
In the description, yes.
Might be on the video.
Yes.
Might not. Do we still do that? Yeah.
Yes.
We'll still put in the comments.
You get the works if you're a sponsor of the Geordie Journals. If you've got a business and you would like to sponsor the Geordie Journals, do get in touch, because we do have, reasonably priced packages that can be put together for sponsorship, just to help the world go around. There is also a little thanks button if you love what we do, with or without me. There's not been a lot of me this summer, has there?
I'll tell you what, if people donate the thanks button, we might get a box and all the people who donate can come
The
along.
Geordie Journals box. I don't know if we'll be able to afford
I
that,
don't think that.
considering they're probably about 50 grand a pop. I'm not sure the Geordie Journals makes that much
There's
money
a couple
yet.
going spare.
But yes, I mean, if you want to buy a box, you can. Thanks button, 50 grand, no bother. Right,
That'll
let's
get
wrap,
you a
let's,
sponsor,
let's
huh?
wrap it. Yeah.
Yes.
If you want to sponsor, you can. Otherwise, Four Rivers have got the full run of the Geordie Journos. And do
Powered
contact
by.
them if you want to. People have contacted them, haven't they? With
Yes, very much so.
this? Yeah.
Very much so.
Was it good?
Mm-hmm.
See, the business is the top operators at Four Rivers.
We'll end it there.
We will. It wouldn't be right if we didn't end the Geordie Journals with some kind of waffle. But I hope my sponsors enjoyed that. Right. Good day, good night, whenever you watch this. We've been through the T's and C's. He's been Dom, he's been Jordan, and I've waffled on like I normally do. So apologies for that. But we'll see you on the other side. Cheers.